Morning. So we're talking about prayer and World Day of Prayer. And one of the things from that first public World Day of Prayer, which my class of 95 was instrumental in putting on for the public, is right here in service where we read the names out loud. That was one of the things we did at the first public World Day of Prayer. And my class was a part of that, as were people from Silent Unity. I was in both. But we sat down, took shifts, because there were thousands and thousands and thousands of names that had been submitted for prayer. And they had said that we'll read each name aloud. They weren't expecting thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So it took us a good portion of the 24 hours speaking the names aloud to put it out there. So it's still going on 28 years later, right here at Unity of St. Petersburg. So I do invite you to come on Thursday. And in the newsletter, you'll see that there's I have a link so you can get the information from Unity Village, so you can tune in on Wednesday on their opening presentation, their Zoom presentation. So check that out and check it out. Today, I'm going to continue speaking about miracles. Last week, if you remember, I spoke about miracles. And I think miracles and prayer goes pretty well together. Last week, I spoke some about miracles. And we saw that while we cannot turn water into wine or root beer, we do turn air into energy. With every breath we take, we turn air into energy. We create a miracle within our bodies with every single breath we take. And you are a miraculous being living in a miraculous world. And as you become increasingly aware of your connection with Spirit, you become a conscious connection. You create this greater conscious connection. And it begins to emerge within you and within your life. And in that ultimate connection, the divine creation, which interweaves all things, begins to open greater possibilities for you. Greater possibilities in the full potential of Spirit that lays within you and lays all around you. As you move past your perceptions and beliefs that you have right now, you're able to move into a greater experience of life itself, and thus create new avenues of good in your life, which include miracles. Because changing your life from bleh to not bad to, hey, this is pretty good. That's a miracle in itself, is it not? Because when life is blah, it's just blah. I mean, what more can you say about it? But when life is good, all things are better. Everything is better. The blah no longer exists. We have admonished it to the ethers of whatever. So you've created that miracle of creating a better life for yourself, a better experience of life for yourself. You become attuned to the miracle in which you are living as you work on expanding your awareness and expanding your relationship with Spirit. You become attuned to the idea and the reality that you are a beautiful being living amongst beautiful beings within the grace of a loving and bountiful God. And so you are more able to gratefully receive the gifts that God intends for you. The Spirit intends only good for you. And those things that we feel are not so good, we're going to talk about them a little bit. Today, talking about loving the miracle. Loving the miracle. If we are living the miracle, life with an open consciousness to experience an unlimited goodness of God, then we must also love the activity of that unlimited goodness of God when it shows up, bringing blessings to us. Makes sense, right? You think this would be easy, but sometimes it is, sometimes not so much. It's easy to love a miracle when it shows up the way that you want it to, or when it manifests as something that is immediately useful to you in your life. But how about when it manifests as an opportunity for you to follow the prompting of Spirit into an experience that will ultimately lead you to a soul-felt personal healing that removes some of the shadow created by life experience, and so allows you to express and be that being of life, that being of love, that is the truth of you. We're talking about healing the buttons, about releasing that which upsets you, about the miracle of bringing your soul into the greater experience of life that it came here to be. This is the part that's not so easy. It's here that you have to trust and do your part. You know, we hear the phrase, pray and move your feet. That's what's going on here. You have to trust God and do your part in your own healing process. Trust is intrinsic to the idea and experience of true love. I was telling a friend of mine that many years ago, in one of my encounters with a therapist and one of my encounters with craziness in marriage, my counselor said to me that you have to trust your partner implicitly. So partnerships come from the Stone Age, back when we lived in caves. And you partnered up with someone and you trusted your life to that person. You became one as a survival entity. And that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. I also heard, you might have seen it recently on good old Facebook, that you have to love your partner even though at times you would rather kill them. But it's that trust. It's that knowing that someone will be there for you when you need it. And that's what God is. God will always be there when you need it. When you need God, God is there. So it's loving the miracle that is going to move you through whatever it is you have to move through. It's said that the two primary activities of ministry is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. Well, we get into ministry, 99.736%, I did the research, got into ministry with the first in mind, to comfort the afflicted. But very soon after you start the trek into ministry, it becomes evident that the second, afflicting the comfortable, the second plays a major part in the growing of souls. It's only through moving out of your comfort zone that you will have the opportunity for a greater awareness, which at times reaches through healing, through the hurts, through the discomforts that show up in everyday life. For when those hurts and discomforts show up, it is actually Spirit working through your emotional self to let you know that another reality for you is possible. For you, a reality where this hurt or discomfort no longer exists can be replaced by a healing and understanding of whatever it is that brings this up for you. And thus, you are able to live a freer life, a life with more meaning for you. Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder, she's actually, most of the books are from Charles, but Myrtle is actually the impetus for unity. She got it first. She was the first one to get it. Charles saw that she got it, and he wanted it too. So he started doing his studies. He learned how to meditate. He put the, all this together, not all this is anyway. He put the teachings together. Charles was the head. Myrtle was the heart of our foundational couple. In her book, How to Let God Help You, page 16, she tells us, we shall discover that it is much more important to change and to do what is really best for our progress and our health than it is to smugly consistent or make the excuse that we have always done thus, and so it is too late to change now. The moment we discover anything undesirable in our minds or lives, we should seek to make the change necessary or bring about that which is desirable. When something comes up for you, when somebody pushes that button that makes you dance around like a weird monkey, you need to find out what that button is. Why did it make you dance around like a weird monkey? What is that thing it brings up for you? Quite often you will find that thing that brought up for you not only comes from your past, but it comes up as a protection that you had to use in your past. And you're an adult now and you don't need it. You're fully able to handle things on your own now. It could be many, that's just one of the things it could be. It could be anything. But to do some self-reflection on your life and what it is that brought up for you is the key to moving through it and into having a greater life experience. Anything undesirable, she says. Emotional hurt or pain, discomfort, annoyance, intolerance, prejudice, guilt, etc. The list goes on and on and on. Where do you make those changes? We spoke about that last week. Remember? Seeking the kingdom of heaven. And where is that seeking happening? Right here. It's happening within. Right here, right now. This is where the change begins. For every time your discomfort is afflicted, You are standing on the precipice of a miracle. You are at one with those moments when you can decide to change your destiny and your fate. This is an opportunity not only for personal growth, but for soul growth. It is taught that we have all come into this world with things of the soul that need to be learned. Things that we need, some people call it karma, past karma, whatever you want to call it. There are these things that we need to learn, that we need to move through, that we need to understand. And that's what's going on in this life, especially with those buttons. Those buttons show you your things. Some of them are shiny, some of them not so much. But as you work with them, you are able to release and let them go. These things of the soul, you learn to use them as an opportunity to move forward as the truth of you, as what Spirit would have you be, as what Spirit would have you experience. It's been said that when you've reached the end of your rope, let go. I first read that and I thought, what? Ain't no way. But it's the truth. When you've reached the end of your rope, let go. Let go and allow yourself to fall into the miracle. And if you can do that, if you can love it, if you can love the miracle called life, if you love and trust Spirit to catch you when you fall into these opportunities for healing, understanding, and change, even when it feels like a pretty long drop before Spirit catches you, you know in your heart of hearts that you are safe and you can do it. Now, back in the day, my construction days, I worked on powerhouses. I worked on the Anclote powerhouse, worked on the Parish powerhouse, worked on the Crystal River powerhouses. One of the things we did for fun was ride the cage. They have these first time I saw one, my mouth just dropped to the ground. They're Manitowoc cranes. I don't know if you've ever seen one, a giant red crane whose boom will reach up higher than a 10-story building. They're just very impressive. But one of the things we did for fun, they had a cage that you'd get in this cage and they'd lift you up and bring you over to, many feet up and drop you off on a platform so you didn't have to climb up. But as I discovered the hard way, one of the things that people think is fun to do, or thought was fun to do, still probably think is fun to do, is you get in the cage, you signal the operator, this is take you up, and then take us up, cut us off. So he would boom you out over, you're not going to hit anything, take you all the way up to the top of the crane, then let it go. And down you go. You're in this cage with about 3 other guys holding on to it. If you know it's coming, it's pretty fun. If you don't, you think you're going to die. But those of us who knew it was coming, we trusted the operator. We trusted the crane operator because you'd be falling full speed until like 50 feet above the ground, then he'd start putting on the brakes and he'd just set you on the ground pretty as you please. And we riding the headache ball with something else. But that's where they just had the big weight. They have a platform, and just one guy gets up on. You get up on that little platform, little circle about that big, and you get on that. You hold on to the cable, and he picks you up, swings you over, and sets you into the building, riding the headache ball. But the cage, we trusted the operator because he knew what he was doing. It's in that same way that we can trust Spirit. The Spirit knows what Spirit's doing. Even though feels like we're dropping from hundreds of feet up and we're going to splat on the ground, not going to happen. Spirit's going to slow it down at the exact right time. Spirit's going to set you down, pretty as you please, into a new experience of life, into a new understanding, a greater understanding of you and your God. And I tell you, the first time that happens, because I never tell you it's going to happen the first time, you get real familiar with your God on the way down. We could trust the crane operator. How much more can you trust God? The presence of Spirit, whose power and love and goodness leaves mere skill at an infinite distance. Why is the first command? What is the first commandment of the Christ? Anybody tell me? Yeah, well, love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. Every aspect of your being, love God. That's it in a nutshell. You got to love it. You got to love the miracle. In Romans 13, verses 8, 11, and 12, Paul says, "Owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Besides this, you know what time it is, how it is already the moment for you to wake from sleep. For salvation is nearer than when we became believers. The night is far gone. The day is near. Let us throw off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light." Your armor of light is your love of God, your trust and your faith in God's will of good for you. You got to love it. You got to love the miracle. You got to love that chance for a new life that God is putting before you. You got to love God for giving you that chance. You got to love those people who push your buttons. You got to love those buttons that are being pushed so that you can understand and heal them. You got to love the miracle, which is God in action, because you are the living miracle right now. And if you are living the miracle and loving the miracle, then you are being the miracle, which is your true purpose and your true destiny, to be the miracle. So this week, friends, pay attention when those buttons get pushed. What is it that pulls you out of your peace? Begin to understand it. Begin to know its origin. Why does it have power over you? And what is it that I am to love so that I may be the miracle? God blesses you.